ruckus maker listening is like, what the heck does this have to do with school? The lesson is, are you optimizing the right stuff? You know? And again, depending on what you're seeing on social or what your district's telling you, busyness is not a badge of honor, nor is it something that usually leads to the results that we want. And I think deeply about sort of the inputs, that are within our control that hopefully lead to outputs and outcomes that we want to see. And people usually just put a lot of weight on measuring those outcomes, and they don't think about, well, how did we get there? And the how do we get there is a combination of strategy, sort of the big picture, and tactics, the actual things that we'll do. And I think there's just a lot of tactics, the things we should do, and doing the wrong things, right? So that's something I think about a lot. And when it comes to like your program, the resilient leader, the mastermind, or, I still do one-on-one coaching, which I really love. It's not like advertisements and social posts and spamming people with information that's gonna, really make the impact. Again, it's that human connection, creating space to chat with somebody, hear what they're working on, what they're faced with, what's holding them back, seeing if there's a fit and connection and chemistry, right? And I'm interviewing potential clients as much as they're interviewing me for a coach, and then being bold and saying, hey, would you like to dance? Do you want to see where this will go if we work together, for 3 months, 6 months, a year? Like, what would you like to accomplish? And whether, again, that's in the mastermind or one-on-one sort of setting. But yeah, optimizing for the right stuff. And it's just so easy to be like, grow the podcast to this level of downloads. Or, what does it matter if it's the wrong people listening, right? What does it matter if I have a viral thread on X or, 1 million comments on Facebook if they're just comments and nobody changes, So I think about that a lot. And let me give a little bit of advice too for the ruckus maker. One, are you optimizing for the right thing? And two, we've already talked about this a bit, but what's that intention action, the first step? And how do you just prove the concept with like your minimum viable audience, let's call it? And this is certainly like something that Seth Godin would say. And that's where we get the ruckus maker language, by the way. So he's certainly like inspired me so much. But, whether it's change on campus, change in school leadership, or change just in leadership that I want to see in general, right? Who are 5 to 10 new people that I could start supporting to see that what I'm thinking about is going to work? You know what I mean? And then serve them at such a high level, they tell a friend. And now there's 5 to 10 more, right? And those people tell a friend. And now there's 30, That's how movements work. And what's his name? Derek Sivers did a TED Talk that's super famous. You've seen this one about how to start a movement, and it's the guy dancing? It's so old now.
Yes,
but
that is super fun.
Yeah, it's just a dude on a hill dancing like a complete like weird goofball. He's not a good dancer at all, but he's dancing alone, right? If you haven't seen the video. And then finally, like a second person starts to dance. I think it's when the third person joins the team and begins the dance, people start rushing in, right? And then it's 4, 5, 6, and then it's the whole audience in the concert on the hill dancing, right? But it starts small. So find the just handful of people that you can support, create a legendary outcome.
Yeah, he's asking, would you like to dance?
Yeah, for sure.
Well, this episode is scheduled to release later in the spring, maybe June, we're thinking. A notoriously busy time for school principals. And I'm curious, if you could sit across the table right now from a tired principal, what would you tell them? What do they need to hear to finish the year strong?
We talk about the fundamentals quite a bit, and so eating, sleeping, moving, meditating, unplugging. And it's so funny. I mean, half of what we can teach is it's the simplest stuff, but you need reminders and you need people to ask the question and to push you. But half the time when people are like at their end or like, oh God, I gotta quit, being a principal. Well, do you sleep? No. Do you eat lunch? No. Tell me about like your email and like connected to work. Are you always on? Yes. Right? Like, oh, you don't unplug? No. You have any hobbies? Do you hang out with friends? Right? Do you get any sunlight? Do you move your body? Do you practice some, meditation or just basically slowing down? Right? And when you go through those things with people who are usually, really tired, that stuff is pushed to the side. So it's a problem. So if you're here
Mm.
in June and you're like, yeah, burnt out, then take care of yourself. That I would look there first before I prescribe anything else, because I almost guarantee that something there is off.
Right on. Well, I think my light bulb moment from this episode is asking if they would like to dance was the phrase that you used. And I
Yeah.
think maybe sometimes that's what makes, I was going to say coaching, but life in general, like getting out of our own comfort zone and asking the other person, like in a coaching context or in a sales context, even like, would you like to participate in this thing? In a school context, that looks a little different, but it is still, I think, getting outside of ourselves and asking the other person is a vulnerability.
It's the same in schools because the vulnerability. It's the same in schools because we're talking about
Yeah,
enrollment, right? Like you can lead and be top down
indeed.
and being like, you're going to do this thing, Dan, because I'm the boss, right? And
Mm.
you might do it, but are you going to be thrilled about it? Probably not. You're going to do it. You want to keep your job, put food on the table, that kind of thing, but you're not going to do it with your heart, right? You're not going to give me your best.
Mhm.
You'll give me just enough to not be fired, right?
Mhm.
But if you do the invitation to the dance, right, and you invite people and people enroll and they say, yes, I do want to be a part of this, you're probably going to get
Mhm.
somebody, who's going to give their best. And isn't that what we want anyways? And so that's part of the leader's challenge, is to figure out how to build that kind of culture and to either hire or sort of support people to become that kind of person on their team. So that's a good one, I think,
Mhm.
to kind of end with big ideas for our ruckus makers today.